Use cases. Logins. Welcome to Stalkit Tutorials. In this tutorial, we are going to scrape some sites that need login to access data. One very important thing to remember regarding scraper needs login is to be sensitive, because if the source site is smart enough, they can keep track of how many pages you access. So even if we will go slow and cautiously, there is always the risk our user will get detected and blocked. What I'm going to do in this video is scrape Stalkit admin itself. Yes, I'm going to use Stalkit to scrape itself. I'm going to do it in two ways. One way is by loading the login page and performing the login actions, entering username and password, and hitting the login key. Then, we're going to scrape its scraper list. Let's start and create our scraper. Give it a name and go straight to the scraper builder. Let's load the Stalkit login page and hit preview. Now, I need to do the login actions, so I'll first add an input action. I will click on the element hand to switch to selection mode and choose the username input field. In the text field, I will enter the username. Next step is to do the same for the password. Don't worry, this user is made just for this video, so like they say, don't try it at home. The last thing left for us to do is add the click on the login button. I'll add an action of type click. We'll keep it at single item, since we just need to click one button and we'll mark the login button. In many cases, after the click action, you will need to add some timeout to let it perform the actual login. Let's hit preview and see what happens. As you can see, now instead of one preview screen, Stalkit has split into 4 screens. Like I mentioned in previous videos, every time you add an action of type, input, or click, you will get another screen in the Preview tab to show the screen after this action is done. Since we added 2 input and 1 click, we will get 3 extra screens. If you switch to screen 2 or screen 3, you won't be able to see the text entered, the username, and password fields. But it doesn't mean they're not filled. Let's move to screen 4, and as you can see, the login performed perfectly. And we are logged in now. Let's add now another click on the project to go into the project and hit preview. Now you can see we have 5 screens, one more after the last click. Let's now add another click on the Scrapers tab to get the Scrapers list and then hit preview again. Now in screen 6, I got to the data I want to scrape. So let's add a data extraction action and call it our table Stalkit. I'll select each of the rows in the table and add some fields. There is one important thing to remember when doing scraping behind logins using this method. If after logging in, you are running multiple URLs or clicks action on multiple items, the default setting is that each action will be opened up in a new session and not the original one. This allows Stalkit to open multiple clicks without needing to return to the original page. However, when you do log in, the new session will not be logged in, so you need to tell Stalkit to open the new pages in the same session. For this, you have the setting in the Advanced Options panel, and all you need to do is mark Yes in the same session setting. The other option, Rerun Steps, means that every page Stalkit will open it will rerun the step from step 1 and not just continue from this step. This setting is important if you still want to run this on more than one session, then each session will perform the login before it starts. This is also important to use if you have a really long process and the site you are scraping might throw you out in the middle. Some websites limit the login for only one station at the same time, so this option will make sure if you are kicked out, you will be logged in again. Let's save and run the scraper. It's finished. Let's go into the data and see that we got all the data we asked for. Great. Now let's do the same thing, but using the cookie. The cookie is created every time you log into a website, and this is what's preventing you from needing to log in for each page you request. So, before I edit my previous scraper, I would like to find my cookie. So, I'll open a window where I'm already logged in to the user that I want to scrape and click on F12. This will open up the developer tools for Chrome. There, I will go to the Network tab and reload my page. If you scroll up to the top, you will see the first request made to Stalkit server is for the default.aspx file, which is the home page for Stalkit. Let's click on this line, and there you will be able to see all the headers sent with this request, and the response headers as well. If you scroll down to the request headers, you will see the cookie. So this is the link I will also have to copy into the scraper setup. Now, let's go back and open the previous scraper settings. Let's open the scraper builder. Since we won't perform any clicks or inputs for the login, but just use the cookie, I'll remove all the unnecessary actions. Let's open up now our URL action and add a header. The name of the header we want to add is cookie, and let's copy and paste the value from the developer tools window. What we also need to do is change the URL, since we don't need to load the login page, but the default.aspx page. Let's run it again. As you can see, even though we didn't put any username or password, we still managed to get the data from the login. You can also get the HTTP GET and POST request methods to log in using a cookie for non-dynamic websites. The advantage for this method, beside the easier setup, is that if the website you are scraping is not checking up on how many you view when you are logged in, but instead checking how many times you log in, you won't be detected because you use the same login cookie. However, the disadvantage of this method is that cookies tend to expire. So if you have a big site to scrape or use it for recurring scraping, you should use the first method and actually set up the input and clicks action. That's it for this video. In the next video, we are going to focus on websites with different search forms.